Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking the new SugoFest Vegapunk into some PvP with a bit of an INT situation. Now, Vegapunk in PvP doesn't seem like the best shit in the world, but we're just getting more and more buffs for the INT Cerebral team, and Dr. Vegapunk, he's probably just going to walk straight in on this team. Once we get the 6+ of Bonnie, I will come back to this team, but now we've got stuff like Atlas, Dr. Vegapunk, we've had Robin Koala. You can throw in like Nami Karina and just make it a bit more of a cerebral build. You've got Shanks, you've got Chopper, Uta. You have a lot of very good INT cerebral characters. And with Bonnie becoming cerebral, you can do some really interesting stuff there. But the thing I want to focus on in today's video is that INT now beats Psy very comfortably. Now, INT needs a lot of help. It still does. It's getting a lot of love in this whole like INT cerebral matter as I've been talking about. But it still does need a little bit of help to make them strong against the rest of the game. Versing Psy, and specifically Psy Free Spirit, INT has no issues whatsoever anymore. Like, you can throw Conus onto this, like, INT cerebral build and go up against some really big Psy teams, even teams that have stuff like Nami Karina on it, and even with bad RNG, still manage to pick up the win because you can just sort of bypass and stall out, tank, whatever you want to call it. You want to just sort of take all of the specials and then just throw them back when you get a chance to. You can run an 8-man team with like S-Hawk on the bench. You can just use stuff like Cat Viper on the bench and then sort of mold it into this sort of like INT slasher team. But as you guys can see, even with really bad RNG going up against Nami Karina and a Yamato blasting our team, you can easily tear through the Free Spirit side lineup. And in today's video, like I said, we're going to focus on that sort of echelons of INT versing Psy. Now, the main reason for that is because the INT Cerebral team, it's just kind of not there. Cerebral team in general, it's just not quite there when versing some of those top echelons teams. Stuff like Slashers, Strength, the quick-driven Slasher team, even like that really defensive Dex team that's been floating around now. The Cerebral team doesn't really have the power and the prowess to take something like one of those teams down. It can do some really nice stuff against shooters, can do some really nice stuff against some like budgety slasher teams, but honestly, I think the best team that it goes up against is the Psy build. And you have so many options when taking on Psy teams, when taking on Free Spirit teams, with this INT cerebrally kind of makeup. You've got Uta for cooldown reduction. She can do a lot of damage. Obviously, the new Atlas outputs a lot of damage as well. You have Robin Koala if you're going up against more of those Free Spirit builds, and you can just sort of drop their defense down. Or you can use something like Om in the front to just halve stats, reduce the Psy makeup of the frontline builds. And you can also use stuff like V2 Shanks, who's amazing at doing damage output to the Psy team, and you can just absolutely blast them away. With Atlas doing a lot of damage, and if you're not coming up against sort of Free Spirit, I feel like Robin Koala is probably a character you can shift out, depending on what you're going up against. If you're versing Mono Psy, especially Mono Psy Free Spirit, having something like Robin Koala is great, having stuff like V2 Shanks is great, but Vegapunk does some very interesting stuff with Special Reverse. And I feel like once we do get Bonnie, or utilizing stuff with Nami Karina and another like rare recruit, like PvP Legend or something like that coming out for Vegapunks, maybe something like S-Bear or something like S-Snake with some bit more INT cerebrally support, we might see like a really, really powerful INT cerebral build running around, and cerebrals just in general might get a lot better. But what does Vegapunk actually do in Rumble? On a 28-second cooldown, he targets one enemy with the highest CT for a 50% delay. He then targets 2 enemies with the highest attack for attack down level 12, and 2 of the highest defensive enemies for defense down level 10. He targets 3 enemies with high HP for a 40% reduction as well. So he does a lot of nerfing. He does some really cheeky shenanigans by rolling back specials, or special, because he only does to 1 unit, and then he just picks 3 units with the highest HP for a 40% reduction. Now, this is really good, because he's on a 28-second cooldown, which stereotypically goes very fast, and with his passive, he actually gives level 2 CD to INT characters. He also gives level 6 HP and defense to cerebrals. That's kind of like all he really does. He's not really providing a whole heap for the team, but he's providing a nice cheeky little shenanigan of some cheeky HP reduction, a 50% rollback, as well as reducing defense and attack down so you can tank more shots and throw out more shots alike as well. All in all, though, like, this is not exactly, like, a disgustingly crazy unit on paper, but it's something that is going to fall into the mold and work very, very well, something like what Cross Guild's doing over on, like, the quick-driven slasher team. And with that, it means that we need a few more pieces to the puzzle to make this unit go absolutely crazy. Now, again, once we have Bonnie come out with her ability to roll back 3 units CD, then you're using stuff like Nami Karina to roll back another 4 units, and then you can use stuff like Vegapunk to roll back 1 unit special. You can do some really, really cool stuff there. And I have been testing some cerebral makeup stuff. We're utilizing Nami Karina in the front, and then roll backing specials with them, and then using Vegapunk to roll back specials. But like I said, I feel like the main place this particular unit is going to shine is if you put him on an INT Cerebral based build, go up against side teams that have been running around like crazy lately and just absolutely decimate them, just tear through their lineups. Is Vegapunk a must for this team? No, definitely not. If you have Nami Karina, just slap on Nami Karina and you're probably going to get the same result. You can use Om in the front as well. As you guys are seeing here, I'm using V2 Shanks, running a bit more of a 6-man build, which you guys can definitely do as well. But all in all, the INT Cerebral team, I just don't think it's complete. And when it does become complete, I don't even know if it will be able to fight up against stuff like Strength or Slashes, or some of those other teams that just sort of have so many other units that can just sort of be thrown on and just tear through lineups. Again, though, I'm not exactly the greatest Cerebral team builder. I don't exactly prioritize the class in terms of like a very good Rumble team and stuff like that. So if you guys do like to use Cerebral, if you've had a lot of success with it, let me know in the comment section below. I'll pin your comment, do all that fun stuff as well. But Vegapunk does seem very interesting in Rumble. And once we do get a full lineup of these INT Cerebral characters, maybe we get like I said, an S Bear or an S Snake Legend that is doing stuff with Cerebrals and INT characters as well. We could see some fun stuff there. I feel like an S-Bear is probably like what we'll probably see the most. But all in all, I feel like going up against Psy Free Spirit especially, is where you're going to see the most success with these types of units. Just to show you guys what I mean, I found this very old-looking quick team. Felt pretty confident going up against it. Again, if you have Nami Karina would be a great unit to just throw in instead of Robin and Koala. That way you're just really buying into the special rollback of both Vegapunk and Nami Karina, and this is the team that I actually have been using to try and like see what results I can get with the Cerebral makeup. Like I said, the bench becomes more of like an INT Slasher kind of thing, with Cat Viper, Om still being Cerebral but also being Slasher, and then S-Hawk doing his thing. And then utilizing like Uta in the front, being an INT character with Atlas and Vegapunk, getting in the full buffs there. Robin Koala is exceptional, but again, if you're not going up against Free Spirit, I feel like you don't really need the damage there, and you need to sort of funnel into a bit more cheekiness with what Nami Karina is doing and rolling back specials and doing all that fun stuff too. Atlas is already outputting a lot of damage when you do get a lot of defensive drops. Uta can give you CD reduction, which is actually ridiculously powerful. Plus, she gets a lot of bonuses from Atlas and Vegapunk. But as you can see, like, this is a pretty old quick team, and they're actually just sort of tearing through our defense. They're tearing through our lineup and putting us pretty much on notice, which is not exactly the most ideal time. Remember, this is not using Roger and Odin. This is not using units like Cross Guild. That team honestly isn't even like the best team in the game. If we went up against stuff like S-Hawk and Roger and Whitebeard and stuff like that, we'd probably be in for a pretty rough time. But all in all, like, Cerebrals still do have prowess. As you guys can see there, Uta just literally killed the entire team, saved the run, and we managed to get the win anyway. But this is what I'm talking about with like these teams not being like the top echelons of what we've seen in PvP. But if you enjoyed the video, bell like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.